you're going to be gassy. And
Yeah.
I guess that's one strategy, like how to get rid of the competition. But
What's up, guys? My name is Rob, and this is Rob on the Run podcast, a running podcast for all healthy lifestyles. Today is episode 5. We definitely have a great guest. His name is Ray. Ray, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. And I see you're enjoying the outdoors today, huh?
I sure am. Had to stop by a park so we could get this interview going.
Awesome, dude. And you know, I envy you because I live in Texas, and right now where I live, we are getting a lot of thunderstorms. So we're definitely not enjoying that beautiful sun and that beautiful weather that I can tell from what I can see over there, man.
Oh, yeah. It's good weather today. That's for sure. Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's good weather most of the time.
Yeah. And what part of California do you live?
So I'm in Southern California. I'm in Anaheim, which is like kind of like a little sub part of. So I'm more specifically Anaheim Hills. Is like connected to. It's just basically the hills above Anaheim. So I'm about like 20 minutes from Disneyland.
Oh man!
That's usually that's what I tell people. So then they're like, "Okay, I got you. I know where you're at." So,
okay. Yeah, no, I lived in LA for a long time, so I definitely know around that area, Anaheim, and living that you're from Anaheim, and you're so close to the Dodgers and the Angels. Who, what fan are you? Are you an Angel fan? Are you a Dodger fan? Or are you a no baseball fan?
Well, I am. I'm definitely more of an Angel fan because I grew up going to lots of Angels games because of my dad and my brothers, and that's just a family bonding experience. So most of my baseball memories revolved around Angel Stadium growing up going there.
Good answer. Because we were about to cut this thing off if you were to say Dodgers. I'm a Padre fan. I'm a San Diego Padre fan for like over 25 years. So if you had said Dodgers, I would have been cut this right here. That's it. It's over. Well, that's awesome, man. And being in Anaheim, do you get to go to Disneyland a lot or not really?
I used to. So, like family fun fact is, so my grandpa worked at Disneyland from the beginning and then retired there. He most notable is he built the headboard on Pirates of the Caribbean. There's a scene as you're going through the ride, and this is like where there's like urban myth and mythology behind the ride, that there's an actual skull that's like a human skull on the ride. And I wish I would have known this legend beforehand, because my grandpa's the guy that literally built that headboard. So there, if you remember, there's a skeleton that's in a bed, and he's got a magnifying glass, and he's looking at a map. On his headboard behind him, that's in that he's in bed. My grandpa built that, and so I'm like, gosh, my grandpa would be the one to be able to answer that question, since he's the one that built it.
That is awesome, man.
Yeah. So and then he built Walt Disney and Lily. They have their own apartment that's above the fire station there in Main Street in Disneyland, and he built that. And so after he passed away, we got into the apartment, and which is closed off to the public, which is just such an awesome experience, being able to go.
And that's the apartment where Walt Disney lived, right?
Yeah. So when he was there, he would go and stay there at the apartment. His envision was to have a place where him and his wife and grandkids can go and hang out. It's super small. Maybe it's like 300 square feet. It's not very big. And, So
it's crazy because I guess there was a time when they actually opened it, because I actually got to see it once.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and
cool.
it's super small, and it has such good history, man, because I don't know if they changed it, especially with COVID or whatnot. Maybe that's when they closed it down, where they didn't let a lot of people come up there. But I remember that there's a story that they leave the light on as if
Yes,
it brings his spirit.
yes,
You know, that's his spirit of him, you know, looking at his park every night, you know, when he's
right,
working. You know, there's a little desk and there's a light, a lamp, which you can see through the outside, and it's always on.
right.
It's always on.
Yes.
So that's crazy that you have such a great history there, man. That's I
Uh,
love Disneyland, man. I'm a big Disneyland baby. I grew up in LA. So for me, it's great memories, man. I would go there all the time. So that's
oh,
awesome that you have
totally.
such a deep root, man, there in Anaheim. I'm glad you're an Angels fan for sure.
Oh yeah. So in high school I worked at Disneyland, and I
Okay.
worked on the jungle. I worked on the Jungle Cruise,
Okay.
like telling all the jokes and everything like that. So
Oh wow.
that was my yeah, that was my ride. That was my, all those lines. So I
Yeah,
was so
yeah,
excited when The Rock came out with his movie, and I would
yeah.
look at my wife, Mama, and I tell her, Mama, that was a joke. That was a joke. It was like I was so excited that they implemented some of the
Yeah,
actual jokes from the ride, like into the storyline in the movie. So
that's
I
awesome,
yeah,
man.
definitely give the Rock a thumbs up on the movie.
That's awesome, dude. And yes, I remember that ride. I remember so you got to shoot that little fake gun at in the water and
Oh,
everything.
fun fact, they're real guns.
Oh,
They're not a
really?
fake gun. Yeah, so they're retired revolvers from the FBI that has a cylinder
Wow.
welded into the chamber so it could only take a blank. And so
Okay.
we actually had to go through a process of checking out the guns and
Okay.
checking them back in, because technically they were real guns,
Oh,
just
wow.
with that had been modified to fire blanks.
Wow.
So yeah, so they're retired FBI guns.
Wow, I did not know that, dude. That's awesome. You see, we're already learning a lot about Disney and a lot about you, man. You're deep rooted in
Yes,
Anaheim. You're a Disney person just like me. That's awesome, dude. And let's
yeah,
bring it back to running because this is a running podcast. But hey, we can convert it into
yeah,
Disneyland podcast easily, you know.
for sure.
But man,
Easily. Yeah,
uh,
yep.
you know, I started following you a while back. I love what you put on your Instagram. It's amazing. I myself have never been able to start a running streak, but initially, what motivated you to start your streak and running consecutive runs like that?
So it was during a 72-hour race
Okay.
up in Idlewild. So those that don't know Idlewild, it's like the mountains above Palm Springs.
Okay.
And so as I was doing it, this course it's a 2 mile loop, and
Okay.
in 72 hours, the goal is to get as many loops as you possibly can
Okay.
within 72 hours.
Okay.
So as I'm doing loops with one of my friends, she was talking to me that she had been working on the run streak for uh, for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say she got up to like 1,300 and something
Oh
days.
wow.
So she got up there,
Yeah.
but during the race, she told me, "I think today is it. Like
Oh
after the race
wow.
is over, I'm not able to continue my streak. I feel like there's something that's seriously wrong, and obviously, like our love for running is so much more important than the run streak itself.
Yeah.
So not wanting to damage herself, so she's able to go on and continue to do other runs and stuff in the future. She's decided to close that chapter. And
Yeah.
she's like, I'd really be awesome if like I could pass the torch on to someone.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
yes, my friend she is very she's very good at convincing friends to do awesome stuff that's borderline kind of dumb, but it's good for us, right? So
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I want you to continue the run streak. So I did.
Okay.
So and then she's like, it's going to be so good for you. It's going to because you're going to realize how easy it is to amp up your training. And she was right, because it always felt like you're just always ready.
Yeah.
Anytime, like, after I feel like after a while, I started recovering quicker. And when it came time, whether it was even a marathon a 5K or whether it was a 100-mile race, it was just easy to start adding on the miles or
Yeah.
tapering off. Either way,
Yeah.
it just made life easier because it was just, I was always running. And then
Yeah.
friends that were looking for a running partner for the day, if they call or text me, they always know I'm
He's
always
gonna
going to be
run.
running. The question, yeah, just the question. The question is, how far,
Yeah.
or how
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
my run is for the day. So yeah,
That's interesting, man. That's interesting. Passing the torch. I never thought about that. That are you ready to pass that torch to someone else, or eventually, maybe not right now, or but in the near future or in the future, is that something you might want to do just to keep on kind of that tradition going?
absolutely. Like I totally would. I know like this isn't forever, and
Hmm.
there'll be a day where be like I'm comfortable with it because my
Yeah.
love for running is far greater than the run. And so, well,
Yeah.
if I ever felt like things were getting pretty serious or I might hurt myself, like
Hmm.
it's okay. Yeah, because I have big goals and I want to be able to hit those goals, and I don't want like an injury holding me back from being able to accomplish those goals.
Yeah, that's important for sure, for sure. And speaking about injuries, how do you maintain your streak through various challenges such as like weather conditions, injuries, or a busy schedule? Because I'm pretty sure it's your hobby, so you have a job, So how do you kind of maintain that all these things?
Yeah, it can be rough sometimes scheduling, whether we're traveling or wherever we're at. I mean, hands down, the hardest day to even squeeze out a mile was the day my youngest daughter was born.
Oh
I told
wow.
my I told my wife that I promise I won't leave your side. Like, but as I'm looking around, like in just the labor and delivery room, this room
Yeah.
is pretty big, and so I squeezed out a mile in the labor and delivery
Wow.
room.
Wow,
And
that's
yeah,
dedication. That's dedication.
I, I, I must have sounded like a gymnasium gym floor. My sneakers, the shoes were squeaking like, because as I'm like turning around back and forth, going really quick and making that
Yeah.
quick pivot, as the labor living room, but I got my mile,
Yeah.
and then the baby ended up coming, and I ended up going out and doing another couple miles later on during the day. So it wasn't
Okay.
necessary, but I was like, I did not want to risk it. I
Yeah,
didn't,
yeah.
like I didn't want to take the chance of her, all of a sudden going into labor and me not being able to get that day in there. I'm like, I know I could give it, I could squeeze it out right now,
Yeah, yeah.
and so
That's
then I just did
awesome.
the front of her.
That's
Yeah,
that's crazy,
yeah.
man. That's dedication for sure. And it's funny that you mentioned that you end up doing that. Has that been the closest you've gone to breaking that streak?
No, I think there's been a couple times where it was like 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, like at night, whether, sometimes it wasn't like I wasn't feeling well. So it was
Yeah.
just me trying to rally, trying to do whatever I could to, feel better and just get out the door. So there's been a few times where it's gotten pretty like 11 o'clock ish.
Yeah.
So, that I finished, and so I was probably out the door at 10:30 or something like that, trying to squeeze out like a mile or two.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, yeah. So that's probably the latest it's probably gone as
Oh
far
wow.
as, yeah.
Just about coming up short, right? To a new day, I guess. And do you have like a, set of rules or something that you go by to for it to count as a run? Like I know I have a friend of mine, his name is Bill Schroeder. I'm not sure if he's still doing his streak, but he had a really long streak as well. But he would tell us that for it to be counted as a streak, it had to be at least a 30-minute run. Anything less for him was not considered a run, right? So do you have something like that you have to hit, or as long as it's a 1 mile or better, that's good to go?
So I think it more like it's kind of evolved like
Mm-hmm.
over the years. So at one point it was about like my pace, and
Mm-hmm.
like I had to go at a certain speed, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you're not feeling well. And so
Yeah.
the thank goodness, like because of technology, like with a watch and stuff, I'm actually able to see my heart rate.
Yeah.
So I feel like regardless of how long I'm on my feet and running for, if my heart rate gets up at any point of the run, like at one, so I want distance wise, it has to be a minimum of a mile, and at
Okay.
some point, like I want, and I at some point, rate like 140 or higher is like
Okay.
my goal, and
Okay.
so. Otherwise, I don't feel like I really pushed myself. Like I could have pushed myself a little bit harder if it wasn't. So
Okay.
and
Okay.
so that's kind of at least if I hit those two things, 140 or higher, in at least 1 mile, then I'm good. And then everything else beyond that is just bonus. Yeah. So
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense because I'm guessing the 140 on the heart rate, that's just that gives you the ability of understanding that you are putting some effort, it's just not like a walk or something, or a light
right,
workout, I guess. And given the fact
right.
that you've done over 2000 plus over 2000 runs, um
Yes.
do you do a lot of like ultra running, or you're just a regular 5K, 10K, half or full marathoner?
So I used to like it started out with like 5Ks and 10Ks,
Mm-hmm.
and one year, my wife, well, we were date at the time we were dating. I went and
Mm-hmm.
did the Orange County Marathon,
Okay.
ran the did the Orange County Marathon, and afterwards I was still had plenty of energy, and
Okay.
so and I went and played soccer with friends after running the marathon.
Wow.
I did 2 games of soccer, and I'm not fast, but I just thought like I have more endurance. So what
Yeah.
if there was like what if there was a further distance? Like I don't think like I was like ever going to get necessarily any faster, but
Yeah.
what if I definitely think I could go farther because I did however many miles, like
Yeah.
running on the soccer field,
Mm-hmm.
So I was obviously, even if I only did 3 miles per game, it was two
Yeah.
games. So minimum of six. I was definitely in ultra territory as far as,
Wow.
uh, distance, as far as distance. So
Yeah.
that kind of started getting the wheels spinning that it was like doable. And I was talking to her. I'm like, I should be throwing up. I should be miserable.
Yeah.
Like as far as like how I feel,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, and I'm
Yeah.
not like maybe I didn't run hard enough that I felt like I did good,
Yeah.
And so all those thoughts are going in. So then eventually I figured out like my first 50. So it was like an unofficial 50, which was from Yorba Regional Park in
Mm-hmm.
Yorba Linda. And I
Okay.
ran from there all the way to Camp Pendleton,
Oh,
where
wow.
friends were camping. So
Okay.
that was 50, yeah. So that was 50 miles, and I then after once I did that, I realized like I can still go farther.
Oh, wow.
And my brother my brother is an amazing runner, and he went out and did the Catalina 50, and then he
Okay.
later on went and did the EC 100,
Okay.
which I'm actually where I'm sitting is at Stagecoach Park in Norco, which is actually part of the course.
Oh,
Like you
nice.
run by run by where I'm sitting, and so it's actually part of. I think I'm at mile 6 is where I'm sitting for a
Okay.
100-mile race,
Oh,
and
wow.
so this race was from Norco to the Santa Monica Pier,
Okay.
and he went and did it, and once I saw him do it, I knew it was possible because I felt like we're so similar. So it's
Mm-hmm.
almost nice having a brother that's so similar that
Yeah.
it's almost like we're able to experiment with each other. So it's like, well, if he did it, it's definitely possible, then I can do it because I know what he's capable of.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah. And then if he tells me like I can do it, then he really means it. Like he knows what I'm
Yeah.
capable of doing. So I was like, okay, yeah, definitely. Like this is possible. So then
That's awesome.
I went after my first 100, which
Yeah.
up at Beyond Limits, up in Idlewild. I've done more hundreds up there than anywhere else. And I got to mile 95 and I got hypothermia, and
Oh, wow.
so I didn't finish the race. I was 5 miles short, an hour and a
Wow.
half left on the clock, and I was just devastated. And so, roughly about 6 months later, I went after it again. I ended up doing the course where I'm sitting
Yeah.
today,
Yeah.
to the running to the Santa Monica Pier. So it's kind of, I didn't even realize where I'm sitting. I just pulled over, found a park, and like, this is a good spot. I'll sit down and
Yeah.
we'll start recording right here. And I didn't realize, like, I'm literally on the course.
Wow.
This is so awesome. So uh, I finished that race within 45 seconds of the time cutoff.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so and my brother, he got third place. So we're literally at opposite opposite ends of
Yeah. Yeah.
the of the race. So
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
yeah, he's incredible. On the back of the Packer. He's definitely got speed, you know. Yeah, and I'm okay with that. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's
man.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Regardless if you're first or last, man, you're crossing that finish line and you're a winner regardless, man. So yeah, I'm pretty
Oh,
sure your brother was very happy to see you finish, regardless if it was the last person to finish. It don't matter, man.
it almost was. So the batteries had died on my GPS.
Oh, wow.
Uh, everything had died battery wise,
Yeah.
and so I was having my friend Google Map to the Santa Monica Pier so I could get like an estimated on mileage, because I
Yeah.
knew I had to pick up the pace to cross that finish line.
Yeah.
I was just uh, I was afraid if I started pushing it too fast too soon, I was going to run
Yeah.
out of gas just before the finish line. It's I was telling someone, my buddy was like, okay, tell me when we're like 3 miles out. Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna go 30 seconds faster,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever it was. So we're just
Yeah.
slowly like starting to pick up the pace, and yeah, and we're just breaking it down, and eventually it was like, okay, once we're like, a mile and a half out, like we have to start going, and once we hit like a mile, it's whatever I have left, I
It's
have to,
everything. Just leave it
yeah,
out there. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome, man.
yeah, yeah.
And talking about your streak and whatnot, how from when you started to today, how do you see
Mm-hmm.
that streak help you or impact you on your running and on your health overall?
Oh, it's huge. I think it's like it's a great, now it's more like a measuring point, like of overall health.
Okay.
So now if I go out and I feel like garbage, like I'm able to now like more or less self analyze, like, am I sick? Was this something I ate? Diet,
Hmm.
whatever might be, just being able to gauge, how I'm feeling. Because if I still go out and I do like a decent run, a lot of times I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not really that sick.
Yeah.
That wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
Because it's like you can still go out when you're sick, but
Yeah.
that pace is going to be slower, or the heart rate's going to be up so high, and
Yeah.
you're going to be able to notice like how things are affecting you, and just the consistency, like in life, like it's a lot easier when you're consistent, showing up every day running. You're able to be more consistent in other areas
Yeah.
of your life. You're able to be more organized. You're able to, plan out your schedule better, because you
Yeah.
want to make sure you're able to have enough time to squeeze out that run.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if anything, it probably made me more of an organized person, because I had to use the calendar
Yeah.
I've at least been using my calendar for over 2,000 days consecutively.
That's
So I
a good way to utilize it for sure.
yeah. So my wife definitely appreciates that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're definitely being able to put the, the special like anniversaries, birthdays, and kind of figure out, okay, so it's my wife's birthday. I got to squeeze in a run. Where can I add it there in that schedule, right?
Right. Exactly. Yep. Yep. And
And
then always
go ahead, go
packing a
ahead.
pair of shoes. Pack a pair of shoes because you never know where you might be ready.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
man. And with your streak, like when you take vacations and stuff like that, how
Yes.
hard is it to figure it out? Because man, when you're at least myself, I think about that because myself, when I go anywhere on vacation, I still try to run. But sometimes, you're on vacation, you sleep late, you had a
Oh
couple
yeah.
too many drinks, something.
Yeah.
I'm not
Oh
sure if
yeah.
you're a drinker to begin with, but
Uh-huh.
you do all these things on vacation, especially staying late.
Oh
That's
yeah.
probably the number one thing you do. You stay a little late,
Yes.
and then you wake
Oh
up in the
yeah.
morning when you're scheduled to run, and you're in. I myself, I'll be honest, I've had to not run sometimes because I went to
Yeah.
sleep like at 3 o'clock in the morning. So how
Right.
does that affect your vacation? Like if you're on vacation and you go to Florida, wherever you go, how has that affected your running like that?
Well, probably like maybe depending on how far I want to go,
Yeah,
the following day, that's definitely gonna help me make decisions. Like as far as distance and where I'm
yeah,
gonna be running.
yeah,
The next day, I totally have a sweet tooth, and I just love food.
yeah.
Just growing up in a Mexican family. My
Oh
mom
yeah.
is an amazing cook, and just
Mm-hmm.
you don't know how to say when you say mom, I'm stuffed. You don't like it's almost insulting, right? Like
Yes,
it's like
yes, yes.
you're like you're like I have no more space like left in my stomach. You're like, oh, you're too skinny. You're getting too skinny.
That's exactly what I was about to say, man. My mom, we're from Mexico, and
Yeah,
my mom, because she knows I'm
yeah,
a runner, I'm gonna make
yeah.
your favorite meal, and you're eating it and you're stuffed, and she's like,
Right,
you're gonna need more. You run so much.
yeah,
You need to have more fuel. So yes,
right,
that's funny that you say that,
right.
dude, because that's exactly what happens, man.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And, I mean, and obviously it's delicious. So it's
Oh
like
yeah.
you're like, oh, I can do it. I can squeeze it in a few more bites. So it's
Yeah.
it's been awful and great, but
Oh yeah.
it's,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
But
you
it's
know,
it's crazy that you mentioned that because yeah, it's I am 100% guilty. I love food. Uh, um,
yes,
I feel sometimes that I run because I love food, so I can eat more
yeah,
food. So
right,
I am
yeah,
so guilty at that. And at times, like for example, I just started marathon training, so the alcohol is cut off. The late nights are cut off,
yeah,
the sweets are gonna be
yeah,
cut off, and that's when I don't want to see my parents because I know that it's gonna be so hard to say no. So I hear you, man. It's coming from a
yeah,
Mexican family. It is so hard to stay disciplined
right.
and eat right and stop eating when you're supposed to, when you're full, when you're feeling comfortable, so yeah, that
Totally.
itself that itself for me, man, it's again, it's been a run killer. The last time I saw my mom, she made me my favorite meal, and I overate to the point where the next morning my stomach was aching so bad that I couldn't run. I knew there was going to be an accident if I went. So, yeah, I
Right.
hear you, man. I hear you when you say that, man. That's crazy.
I guess the good thing about ultras, you learn how to run through being like not miserable or not feeling well.
Yeah.
Because especially when you start getting into these long distances,
Hmm.
goos and gels usually aren't sufficient. You
Yeah.
have to have real food. You
Hmm.
really and people that haven't gone to the ultra distance. I mean, you could get away with it on a 50K, but
Yeah.
you start getting, closer to 50 milers and stuff, you're going to need something other than gels and stuff like that. Although I do have a couple friends
Mm-hmm.
that do like fully liquid and gels and stuff. They're even on a 50 miler, and
Mm-hmm.
actually one of them actually did it on a 100 miler,
Oh, wow.
completely all liquid, like all liquid. Her stomach just always goes south, and she's done it a couple times, all on liquids now, and so I can't say it doesn't work because it worked for her. You got to figure out what works with your body type. I
Yeah.
just see like overall for ultra runners, like you got to get some sort of food in there. You just need more calories,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
yeah, learning to run with a full gut, decently full gut, is definitely a skill. And if you're able to get that skill under your belt, it's going to
Mm-hmm.
make getting those longer distances and so much easier because you're going to have the calories.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to be like a cow. You literally have to be like a cow. You got to just be grazing all day long. The cows never stop eating. You
Yeah.
really almost have to have that mindset because there's eventually a point where you're not going to feel like eating. And so, and if you stop, then you're going to start getting too far behind, and you're going to be so far behind on calories. It's going to be not impossible to make up, but it's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah.
You
No,
know?
I've never run a ultra. It's something that it's on my mind, definitely. Now that I ran marathons, and it's something that I want to try. And that's very good that you mentioned that, because it makes complete sense. Like when you're running a marathon, a half marathon, you could get away with, you know, just doing the gels. But I can imagine that when you're running 100 miles, that's going to be like a all day run or something like that. There's gonna come a point where that just is not fueling you, you know. So you gotta intake
Yeah,
more meals, more food, solids, so it
yeah,
can help you, you know, gain that
yeah.
energy, you know.
Yep, yep, yep. And even like, I mean, actual meat in the when you start with the hundreds, like you at some point you really have to get like protein in you,
Yeah,
like on
yeah,
a 100 miler. Like you act like it's so my friends that are vegan, like it blows my mind because I think it would be so hard for me not to be vegan and
yeah,
do it. But the big thing is just experimenting. You got to figure out what works for you individually. Everybody's body type is so different.
yeah.
What works for one person isn't going to necessarily work for another, and you
Exactly.
don't figure that out unless you're experimenting. So
Yeah.
that's like and some people are able to digest things differently. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I realized like I could get away with like pancakes, bro, that's a lot of calories. That's actually really
Yeah.
useful
Yeah.
during during an ultra, like
Yeah.
being able to shove like 3 4 good size 6 inch like pancakes in your mouth and
Yeah.
run, like that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but it's like that came through experimenting, and like
Yeah.
other friends like that, but they've learned what works for them. I have a friend that swears by burritos, and he'll do like
Oh,
bean
wow.
burritos, and I'm just like, for me, I'm like, that's too much fiber, like
Yeah.
you're going to be gassy. And I
Yeah.
guess that's one strategy, like how to get rid of the competition. But uh, but like it's totally, you got to do work for you. But
Yeah.
yeah, I bean burritos, no thanks.
Yeah.
My brother does Jack in the Box.
What?
Like, my brother has done so much Jack in the Box during a race. Like
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. Like he's successful. So
And
same
he,
thing.
and
You
at this
can't.
point he's not sponsored by them. He needs to get sponsored by them then.
Right. Yeah. He would, like, on a course, he'll tell you where every 7-Eleven and Jack in the Box is. Like, he knows where all the fast food places are, and he'll get in there. And he got used to, on one training that he was doing, I think it was like the whatever their bacon cheeseburger was.
Oh
They're
my
like
God. Yeah, yeah,
double.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, that doesn't sound good. That sounds
Yeah,
dangerous.
it does.
That's
It really does,
you're thinking
man.
about racing. You're
Yeah,
like that doesn't like whoa, but he's good, so it works for
yeah,
him.
yeah. I mean, I've heard some
Yeah.
crazy things. I had a friend of mine, she does a lot of the Run Disneys, and she can't take any gels. So she
Mm,
gets the Pop Tarts and cuts them in squares, and she will be popping those in
yes.
while she's running, you know. And so that's kind of her version of, her own version of gels, that's what gives her that little extra kick, I guess. And it's because I'm guessing because of all that sugar that they have, so I mean, I thought I
Right.
heard it all, but Jack in the Box and burritos definitely takes the
Uh,
cake,
I
man.
I've done during one of the races. I've done donuts.
Uh-huh.
I did 100 miles on a treadmill once, and
Oh my
I
God.
I I think I think there was only like two or three donuts out left. So my neighbor bought like a dozen donuts for me and
Yeah.
brought it over. And neighbors would come over, and I set up a couch in the garage and the TV and the treadmill. And my brother would come over, and everyone would hang out, and I'm just
Yeah.
on the
You're
treadmill
just
for
running there.
yeah, just running on the treadmill for 48 hours. I went through every Marvel movie chronologically, and so that was good. I actually did the whole thing, like how they happened systematically, I guess, in like order. So I like Googled it. I'm like, what could just take up that much time? So I did that. So that was
Wow.
pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I since I was at home,
Yeah.
I ate so bad because I had the convenience of my own bathroom. So
Yeah.
I'm like, well, if things go bad, like I could literally
You're
run to
just
my
right
own
there.
bathroom. So eating this morning, like my brother calls me up. He's like, "What do you want?" I'm all In-N-Out hamburger. So, so he showed up with In-N-Out hamburgers and like
Oh,
a
wow.
large Dr. Pepper, and yeah, and I was
But
pounding.
the question is, those In-N-Out burgers, were they animal style or regular?
Oh, I'm sure they were animal style.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Like, yeah, yeah. I like definitely like knowing that I'm literally trying to squeeze out as many calories, and also I would know it'd be easier to swallow and like
Yeah.
get down. But that,
Yeah. Yeah.
when if it was dry, because I've a few times during a run, like I knew I was the way I was feeling. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like I'm low on protein. So I told a friend to get me like go through whatever the closest drive through, get me a burger, and I just want a burger,
Mm-hmm.
the bun, the patty, and just mustard. And
Okay.
so yeah, mustard's a great hack for like helping settle your stomach down. And
Okay.
so I'm like, I want a ton of mustard, like a disgusting amount. And so whatever whatever you think is a gross amount of mustard, I want
Yeah.
more than that, and then we should be good. And
Yeah.
so, but it works. Mustard works at settling the stomach during a run.
That's crazy.
A lot of times for me. So I'll do that and pickles. Mustard, pickles, all those would work really well for me, settling the stomach during the run.
Who says
It's
fast
almost
food is bad for you when you're a runner, right, man? Whoever said that you're not supposed to eat fast food, you just proved them wrong, man.
well, oh yeah, you gotta have fun. You gotta have fun. One of my buddies, he passed away a few years ago.
Okay.
Andy Noyes. He was an amazing coach, and he's to like locally in Southern California, and this guy could walk and power walk like nobody's business. Like
Yeah.
people would ask him like, "How do you do it?" And he's like, I just drink Dr. No, Diet Coke to mile 80, and then I switch to Dr. Pepper, not diet.
Gotta keep that
And
diet,
then I
man.
eat. Yeah, yeah. So he's like, and then he's like, whatever. He's like, if you're not feeling well in an ultra or in a race, whatever you would want as a kid, he's
Mm-hmm.
like, that's probably what you need.
Oh,
So
wow.
he's like, go back in time, He's like, what would the 13-year-old Ray want? And so, and I told him I'm all Reese's Pieces or Reese's peanut butter cups. I'm like, I love Reese's. I'm like,
Yeah.
that sounds so good. He's like, you should have that. And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
During one of those 72-hour races, I started experimenting. You're going at a slower pace, so it's easier to experiment. So I would do the Starbucks, like the glass bottle. I don't know how many ounces these are. Like
Yeah.
a 12-ounce mocha
Uh-huh.
and a Reese's peanut butter cups and beef jerky. And I'd do
Oh,
all three
wow.
of
Wow.
like so, and I'd use it. Yeah, so I'd do all three of those together, and yeah, and I'd start to bounce back, and it'd work. So
Oh,
yeah, I'd
wow.
go through. On the 72-hour race or 48 hours, I'd probably go through like 20 to 30 Reese's peanut butter cups,
Wow.
and then I'll go through nearly a gallon though of pickles.
Oh,
And so, as
wow.
far as like, so a gallon of pickles, I'll do like a large bag, whatever, like Costco bag size of
Mm-hmm.
beef jerky. Sometimes I'll do a whole watermelon, like a whole entire large watermelon, the whole thing.
Oh,
And
wow.
then so those are just things that like I know that works for my body, and then I can get away with it.
Yeah.
Like behind on calories, that's when the Reese's peanut butter cups come out to try to get
Yeah.
me to that quick sugar for me to bounce right back. And because the thing is, like, you become unmotivated to eat.
Mm-hmm.
So eating something that you'd actually like, I'd rather a runner eat that than to eat nothing.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be worse off eating nothing
Yeah.
than eating junk food. So
Well, it makes sense. You're trying to stimulate your mind, you're trying to like not stimulate, but more like reset that brain, because your brain is probably telling you, I don't want to eat anymore. I'm tired. You're tired, just, whatever. And maybe those little things, like you said, for you, Reese's, the Reese's peanut butter cups, that kind of gives you that, your brain kind of say, oh, I love these. So it kind of resets your brain, I guess. Maybe that might be the right word.
I think so. That definitely does that. So
That's
you
awesome.
got
That's
you got
awesome.
some you got some experimenting to do as you start to get into ultra dentist.
Oh my God, dude! I just listening to everything that you eat and your brother eats. I think just because of that reason, I want to do it. I want to eat tacos. I love pizza and tacos. Maybe I can do that while I'm
Oh,
running.
oh, we've done pizza during race, and it's fantastic. Everything in an ultra tastes the best it will ever taste because you're so behind on calories. So everything, things that you'd have at home, and then
Yeah.
during the race, it tastes 100 times better. Just because it's just like, it's the best pizza. One time, I went out. I was doing the race,
Yeah.
and they said pizza is on its way, and that was literally just the thought of pizza coming.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is the pizza here yet? No, it's not here yet. Go out and do another loop. And I go out and
Oh
do another.
man.
Is it here? Not yet. Oh, it's going to be here any minute. Go out and do one more loop.
Yeah.
And I went out and did one more loop.
Yeah.
And when I came back, all the pizza was gone.
Oh
And
my
so
God, man.
I literally, I, I was so crushed. I was so sad. Like
Yeah.
my friend's like, oh, talking about sucking the life out of someone. He's like, okay, Ray, I'll make you whatever you want.
Oh my
Whatever you want,
God.
I'll make it. Like if I have to go out and get more pizza, I'll go out and get more pizza. He's like, that
Damn.
was that was the saddest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I,
Yeah.
that
Don't tell me. Yeah.
that just listening to that story makes me sad because I love pizza. So if I was doing something like that and they told me, "Oh, pizza's gone," I would probably cry, dude. I probably would cry like a little baby because yeah, I can only imagine your body's already feeling it, and then you've been waiting for it, and then oh, pizza's gone. Jeez, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
pretty sad.
Yeah. So the thing is, when you start incorporating some of the foods, is definitely keep an eye on your salt because
Yeah.
now you can you could end up being too high on your salt. So the easiest way for a runner to regulate that is
Yeah.
like a simple test, like something that you're familiar with. You get a
Mm-hmm.
couple chips, because there's almost always chips like at every aid station. Or if you're out running, like you can carry chips with you, and
Okay.
so you're familiar with how it tastes. And now, if it tastes uh, overly salty,
Mm-hmm.
like disgusting, then you
Yeah.
know you're too high and you need to dilute with water. So no Gatorade or electrolytes. You need to dilute with
Just
water.
water.
Now,
Okay.
yeah. So that's so that would be like the rule of thumb, like on that, and that'd be the easiest way to test on the race or out on the long training run. If it tastes good, then fine. Keep on doing what you're doing, whatever electrolytes or whatever you're using.
Yeah.
Um, the other One of the things I was thinking about when you're talking about your friend with that the gels don't work for her, I
Yeah.
almost feel like it's the type, because certain gels have, they'll use whether the sucralose or the dextrose, the different
Mm-hmm.
types of sugars,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like to still continue to experiment, like
Mm-hmm.
on short training runs,
Yeah.
because there's going to be, you're going to probably end up finding something that works for your body type. And
Yeah.
so, and if you're able to have gels, they are convenient and a good tool to have.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
you can never have too many tools, too many tricks up your sleeves,
Yeah.
because and they're lightweight, so they're easy to pack and
Mm-hmm.
to have with you in your pack. Especially if you're on a long training run and you're out a little farther than you should be. So I would just encourage everyone, like, this, you got to continue to experiment with
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah. No,
until you
and
find,
you're right. You're right. And that's what I
yeah,
do. That's exactly what I do
yeah,
when it comes to training. If I want to incorporate something new, I'll put it in my training, in my long run training. And if
mm,
it settles correctly in my stomach, or if everything works out fine, then it's another, like you said, another thing, another tool in your belt, that you can
right,
incorporate on race day. So yes, I encourage people as well, the same thing. When someone asks me, well, what do you do to train for a marathon? How do I know if this gel or this food would work out for me when I'm running? Do it in your training. If it makes you
yep,
go to the
absolutely,
restroom, then no.
yeah,
If
yep,
it makes your
yep,
stomach,
yep,
rumble, then no. It
right,
just depends. And that's the best time to do it. Don't ever
right,
try something new in race day. And I even tell, like, my friends or people that ask me for advice, find out what they're gonna have at the event. Like, they usually will tell you they'll what type of hydration they will have, if they will have like
right,
food, or they will have these things. And then if you want to try it, then buy the same stuff they have, and you can see if it's something that's going to work out for you. If not, then you start preparing with your own stuff, with your own, food. If you bring some food, like, like the Pop Tarts, for example, no, like she does,
yeah,
but
yep,
yeah, it's very, very important, man. It's very, very important to always take these practice runs and do all these things, man, because it's the best time to do it. So you can be 1000% prepared when race day comes, for sure.
yep, 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 yep. I even I'm picky on race day what water I have, and so I'll use like a alkaline water, and
Mm-hmm.
so I'm big on that. I It seems like when I've done like other some of the brands that are too high on like the
Mm-hmm.
acidity level,
Mm-hmm.
like that will raise the acidity in my gut. Like,
Yeah.
and when I realized that, it was actually during one race where the only thing that I did different was the type of water that I
Oh
had,
wow.
and that's what kind of triggered me. And then watching YouTube videos where you see people like they're testing to see the different pH and the acidity level, and so that started getting the wheels turning on that. And I was like, well, gosh, like I'm sure there's probably like a water that my body responds better to. And
Yeah.
so I'll just pack my own water. I'm like used with the long training runs and running the ultras, I'm used to having a pack for me. So for a marathon, I probably wouldn't use the water at all. on a marathon
Oh, wow.
distance. I would just bring my own water, and I'd be fine with that. And I would probably um, like, if anything, when I go to the aid stations or the water stations on a marathon, I would just use that water just to rinse out my mouth or rinse my eyes
Okay.
or anything
Yeah.
like that, not to actually consume.
Okay.
I would just stick to whatever I'm drinking is out of my pack.
That's
So
definitely interesting. But yeah, again, you have to stick to whatever works, and that's
right,
very important,
right,
man. And
right.
I definitely want to take too much of your time, but I definitely wanted to bring this up because um I think he's a star of your Instagram page. Talk to
Yes.
us about Tapatio. How did he come up? How did you come up with that name, first of all?
Okay. Well, I love hot sauce, and
Okay.
so we had a friend that was looking to rehome these two Chihuahuas, and
Okay.
so we got Tapatio and Cholula, and well, when we went there to get them, uh, my oldest daughter, that's 16 now, she was I think around 2 years old, and she went and grabbed them, and she was really rough with them, and they didn't bite her. So I looked at my wife and I said, uh, "Well, Chihuahuas are total biters, and since they didn't bite her, I think I could train everything else. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I can work with these. I can work with these dogs. They're not going to be a biter because they would have totally bit her because she
Yeah.
grabbed them by their hind legs. Okay, I'll take the dogs. So I took the dogs, and they were like typical Chihuahuas. They bark nonstop, peeing everywhere. Just
Yeah.
they were horrible. But I am not the type of person to give up, and so eventually I'm like, you're not going to be like a Chihuahua. You're not allowed to bark whenever you feel like it. That's not how this house runs. Uh, but so one day out I went out for a walk, and I took
Yeah.
him, and he was Tapatio specifically was pulling me so hard. I'm like,
Yeah.
"You want to run, bud? We can run. Okay, let's go running." And then 1 mile turned into two, and more,
Oh,
and
wow.
uh, just and I just realized like this guy loves a run,
Yeah.
absolutely, and I just couldn't believe that I had like a Chihuahua mix. We've never tested them to see what they're mixed with. We have like
Yeah.
our ideas of what the two of them could be mixed with,
Yeah.
but don't know. I think like maybe like an Italian Greyhound, the little Greyhounds,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, possibly because their waist tapers a lot, just like the Greyhounds do.
Mm-hmm.
Cholula, she could bend her ears like how Greyhounds do. So little things like that.
So they might
But
have some running in them then. There's some running blood in there then.
yeah, but I mean, the funny part would be if we test them and it comes out 100% Chihuahua, right?
And all this time you're saying they were mixed, man.
Right. And it's like, no, they're just Chihuahuas.
They're
Yeah,
just plain old Chihuahuas, man.
yeah. So Cholula, she rarely does she go out and run. She
Okay.
just wants to sit around and watch TV and sleep in. So she might
Okay.
go out with me once a week. I tell my wife the only time she wants to go running is when she needs to file her nails. And so from running on the sidewalk, I'm like, if her
Yeah.
nails aren't getting long, yeah, if the nails aren't getting long enough, she doesn't need to go for a run.
Yeah, she's good.
Uh, she's good. But I think the names like fit them perfectly, just with my,
Yeah.
something spicy and a little bit of attitude, and
Okay.
it's perfect for a running dog, and a Chihuahua, and obviously Tapatio is the boy, just like
Yeah.
on the bottle, and Cholula is the girl, just like on that bottle. But
Yeah.
they're great dogs, and one of the things recently I looked up because I've been
Uh-huh.
keeping track of Tapatio's miles for years, and
Yeah.
tomorrow he's going to hit 10,000 lifetime miles.
That's awesome. I was about to ask you
Yeah,
because I saw that on your
yeah,
Instagram and 10,000
yeah,
miles, man. That's crazy.
yeah. I couldn't, and the past couple of weeks, because Tapatio is 13 years old now,
Okay.
but the past like week or two, he's been extra hyper, more energetic.
Yeah.
And I told my wife like he is just like he's beating me to the door. He is downstairs waiting for
He
me.
knows.
Like
Yeah.
he's like he's more like his puppy version of himself. He hasn't
Yeah.
been as energetic as he's been lately. He has not been this energetic, like honestly, in years. Like he
Oh,
has been
wow.
up doing zoomies and doing like I can hear him sprinting up and down the stairs. Like
Yeah.
uh, just like there's, you do your morning business, get your cup of coffee,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stop by the bathroom. The
Yeah.
dog's
Yeah.
waiting for me by the toilet. He's
Oh,
like
wow.
literally the
He's
past
like,
couple of
yeah,
days.
no, you're not going. You got to take me for a run already, man.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm just like, this guy is like a crack up. Like he wants to make sure he does not miss out on a run.
Oh my
So
God. Oh my God,
yeah,
that's hilarious, man. And to me, when I saw on your feed, Tapatio, it's not common to see a running Chihuahua dog, you know.
well, for sure, for
So when
sure.
I saw that, I was like, man, this is interesting to see that. Just because when I have a healer, for example, and he loves to run too. He is all
Uh,
legs, man. He will run all day if he could, but he is built for that, for running and herding and herding the cows and stuff
yeah,
like that. But when you see a Chihuahua, you think exactly like Cholula, like you were saying. She's more of sitting there watching TV. Only when she wants to run, she'll run. And so that's
right,
when
yeah,
when you talk about Chihuahuas, that's what I think too. Like that, they just want to run enough to go do their stuff outside and then come back and just relax, right? So it's
yep,
interesting
yeah,
to see
totally.
your dog almost has 10,000 miles, man. That's crazy. Are you gonna
I
do something
know.
special for him, or what's going on there?
Um, I don't know. Probably. I mean, the kids spoil them so much, like with with people with people food. I bought them really fancy like doggy treats, and
Yeah.
they're like, nah. I'd rather have like chicken nuggets. Like like forget. So I feel like I waste my money when I bought them like the special dog treats. They're just like nah.
So
So I
spoiled,
do.
man.
Yeah, I do get them. So I started early on with the
Hmm.
dogs, getting them like a better dog food, like
Okay.
that had like vitamins and stuff like incorporated
Yeah.
into it. So
Yeah.
that has like glucosamine and chondroitin, and it has MSM, and it has like omega. So I had all this stuff like within the dog food, and I thought this is and it was a senior formula. So I probably started giving up the senior formula, and it was higher in protein. And I'm like, well, with all the running that he does, he's going to need that. So
Yeah.
I just started him on the senior formula probably maybe 4 or 5 years before he even needed it. Like, so I started just way early on the senior formula, and maybe I think that's also helped with his longevity as far as running and keeping him
Okay.
healthy too. Yeah.
And yeah, and I'm pretty sure you giving them, better food than just, the traditional dog food has kept them very well, for a 12-year-old dog to be able to still run as much as he does with you. That just goes to show you that the food has a lot to do with it.
Oh, for sure. I honestly like when more so when he was younger, but I would treat him like you would an athlete. So we come home, he gets his treat. Whether I was giving him actual chicken or like a hot dog and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so because of his size and weight, like if he was like a professional athlete, he'd only need like 7 or 8 grams of protein. So you'd like a gram to a gram and a half per pound of body weight. Well, he's 7 pounds. So that's basically like, you know, that's basically one hot dog,
Yeah.
part, like a quarter of a chicken breast or something
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
like, so it's really easy for him to meet that quota And that would be more like after like a long run, like
Yeah.
he'd get that extra treat. But as soon as I get home, Cholula comes downstairs because she knows that he's going to get a treat from
Yeah.
after the run. And I tell her, I'm like, what do you deserve? Like, he literally sat on the
You
couch.
have not
But
done
she,
anything, man.
yeah, but she knows, like, I'm home and he's going to get a treat. And
Yeah.
so he should, she knows the sound for the microwave when it goes ding, or the air
Okay.
fryer, the noises that it makes. And she'll
Yeah.
be dead asleep upstairs. She'll come downstairs when that goes off and
Yeah.
sit down at your feet. Yeah,
Oh,
like
wow.
knowing that it's yeah. So
Smart girl, man. Definitely.
yeah, my wife and I said we would never own Chihuahuas, which is the crack up. Yeah, like they're the most annoying dogs ever, and we totally love them. So
They
it's
they
funny.
do tend to have that what do they call it? The big dog syndrome.
Oh
And
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. They
and
definitely have the attitude. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I used to have my mom used to have a Chihuahua, and I've always had medium sized to big dogs. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when we would put them together, the big dog with my mom's Chihuahua, that Chihuahua would bark and bark and bark like it was about to kick the crap out of my dog, and it's like 1% compared to the size of my dog, he's
Right.
super
Right.
small.
Totally.
And that dog would
Totally.
bark and bark and bark like it was a huge dog, like it's gonna, Rottweiler or something like that. But I love that little Chihuahua. She was a good dog. They're good dogs. I just like big dogs. I'm a big dog kind of guy. So I hear you, but that little Chihuahua had a special place in my heart, man. She passed away a couple years ago, but she definitely gave us a good the family a good time. She's with her barking like she's a guard dog. My dog I have here, he's actually laying like right across from here. He won't even bark at if an intruder would come right now, dude. I swear to God, he would not bark at the dog. He'll probably at the intruder. He probably would go up to him and start like licking his feet or something. So yeah, the Chihuahua was a better guard dog than what I have right now, man. But I just love dogs, so it's all good if
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
Chihuahua, whatever.
Yeah. I've had Rottweilers. I've had boxers. So I've had I've only both of them are my first little. So I'm definitely not used to it.
Yeah,
It's convenient, because they're so small.
yeah,
It's easy to take them anywhere,
yeah, for
and
sure.
yeah, uh, which is it's like, no, so it was like big dog poo, Yeah.
Yeah. And Ray, again, I don't want to take too much of your time. It's already over an hour, so I definitely don't want to take more of your time. At this point, we do have a tradition, this being the fifth episode. We do have a question from our previous guest. And so we'll give our guest a little bit of time to answer it, and then when we come back, you'll have a chance to answer, okay?
Okay.
So if you had one place in the world where you could go run, where would it be and why?
Okay. So I think the place that I'd want to run more than any place is, I mean, maybe because it's most recently in my head, is the Cocodona 250.
Oh,
I'm running
wow.
through Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also think about like Badwater. Like I really want to do Badwater, the Death Valley Ultra Marathon, 135 miles.
Okay.
But the Cocodona 250 just seems like such a long journey, and I think these 200 milers are really starting to get me excited.
Yeah.
Just because I love the idea of like a journey, not just
Yeah.
a race.
Yeah.
And so that kind of appeals to me. So there's like the Bigfoot 200 and the Tahoe 200, and so I want to kind of take a stab at that. It'd be hard, like to pick a specific one, but I
Yeah.
think right now, if I could go to anyone, it'd probably be the Cocodona 250 right now today.
And
Yeah,
it's crazy you mentioned that because it as of the recording of this episode, it just finished like a couple of days ago. The
yeah,
Cocodona.
yeah,
A good
totally.
friend of mine,
Yeah.
SoCal runner. He's a good friend of mine. He just finished it for the third time. Third
so
time in a row, man. Third time in a row. He's a beast, man.
so crazy.
I don't know if
So
I don't know if
crazy.
you've ever met him. Have you ever met him? Because he's from SoCal too. He's from Cali as well.
Who? Steve?
Yeah, Steve
Who?
Epifano. Yeah.
Yeah, I ran with Steve.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I
Yeah,
figured
yeah,
that you
yeah,
probably know him since y'all are pretty close to each other.
yeah. Because I was thinking, I'm like, who's ran Cocodona that's in SoCal? That's like, I'm like, is it Steve? Yeah. I'm like, that would be it. I'm like, because well, I ran with Andy a bunch of
Okay.
times. I've always run with Andrew Glaze, like on his birthday,
Okay.
and Tapatio usually joins us too.
Oh,
Running with
nice.
Andy
Nice.
for a little bit of his birthday run. But yeah. As Steve is so awesome. He's
He
just
is.
super nice guy. He's
Yeah.
like just such a wealth of knowledge, and so that's a nice thing. So if a runner ever sees Steve out on the course, you get free information, free
Oh
coaching
yeah.
while you're
Yeah.
running with them.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. He's an amazing guy. I'm hoping to have him here at the podcast as well. I used to have another podcast. He came out in that one, but it's been a year since the last time. And now that he's done the Cocodona 3 times, I definitely want to have him and celebrate his victory. And definitely, like you said, he's a person that gives you knowledge. So I definitely would ask him for some knowledge so you can get that one done, man. I think that would be awesome to see you do that for sure.
Yeah, and he's for those of runners out there that are just looking for a coach in general.
Hmm.
I believe he's still coaching, and
Yeah,
so
he
like
is.
I would totally. So if you're looking to hire a coach, and I would hit him up. Like I would totally recommend him. He's a good guy,
Yeah.
very personable,
Hmm.
and will work on any distance with it.
Yeah,
And obviously he is, showing like he's his own proof,
yeah,
like,
for sure, for
like,
sure, for
yeah,
sure. His
like,
body of work says it all, man. For sure, for sure.
yeah,
No, and
yeah.
he is a coach. And I know on his Instagram, he's been posting some of his athletes and some of the stuff that they've accomplished already. So yeah, he's definitely. I give my kudos to him. And if you're looking for a coach in general, and you don't have to be an ultra runner, definitely give him a holler, man, because he's definitely a very very cool guy to have on your side. But definitely, Ray. Also, just how you answered the question from our previous guest. Do you have a question for what would be episode 6? Whoever is going to be in episode 6.
Yeah, I was thinking about what would make you happiest running. If it's like your happy place, and what's your favorite part that like what brings you joy during the run? There you go. What brings you joy during the run? And
What brings
so
you joy
if
to
it's
the
like
run?
out on, yeah, like what is it? Is it just being outside? Is it
Yeah,
is it
yeah.
the people? Or what is it? Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be
That that's
different for
that.
every
That's
person.
that's a great question because uh I'll go ahead and stab at it first.
Uh-huh.
What brings me joy from a run is just being outdoors, man. I work from home. So when
Yeah,
I get to go outdoors for an hour, hour and a half, however long I'm going to be outside running, it's just to be outdoors and breathing fresh air and seeing, the animals and seeing, just how amazing it is to be outside. We spend so much time cooped up at home or in our office at work or wherever you work that sometimes we forget that nature is amazing. And we're
yeah.
blessed to be able to breathe and do all these amazing things that we can do outside. So for me, it's just the joy of being outside, the joy of enjoying, um, uh, you know, what nature brings to us. Even if it's rain, hell, if it's rain, it's still
Yeah.
amazing. There's still
Yeah.
something amazing for that. So yeah, that's a great question, man. And I know I took a stab at it. I should have let you first, but it really was a good question. Go ahead and also answer your own question, man. What brings you joy?
I think like just exploring, like also like what you're saying about just being outside. I feel like I have an explorer's heart. I love seeing, just seeing what's new out there.
Hmm.
Just going someplace that I have never been. Like getting a lay of the land. That's probably the best part on vacation.
Yeah.
Getting up early and going, finding out where all the restaurants are at, kind of getting
Yes.
ideas. And so when I come back, like for breakfast, I'm like, I saw this, this, and this.
Yes.
I mean, and then there's also like the really cool parts about exploring, like seeing Native Americans where our local indigenous people that were in Orange County,
Yeah.
like bowls that were carved out of the rocks where they would like mill and ground down acorns. Like that's so exciting.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. Like
For sure.
traveling back in time and seeing things like that, or the pioneers, and you're seeing these old cabins that they built and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Finding a horseshoe like on the trail, like one time.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's really, really awesome.
I love taking pictures, so I can't get enough pictures. I love taking pictures. So if I could take a good picture to share with people,
Yeah.
and just kind of bring them into that moment too, is also fun.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. And before we let you go, we definitely are going to give you some time to, give the viewer where they can find you. But last question that popped up in my head, given that your streak is so long, what would be the what advice would you give someone who is considering starting their own running streak? What would be probably the one thing that you would recommend, or what advice would you give them?
Not to be like overcritical, like as far as like what the like what it would like how hard you need to be going, because people are gonna say like, oh, you need to be going X amount, like you need to be doing a 6 minute mile for it to be considered a run.
Yeah.
Like everybody has their pace. Like I told you, like my thought process has changed so much. Like it's really like now it's like my heart rate. Like if I get at least a mile in and my heart rate's up, then like I know that I know I pushed myself, because
Yeah.
that heart rate's going to be up and the mile's going to be horrible if I'm sick. But at least like I know I was like I was going as fast as I could based off of like today's current circumstances.
Yeah.
So to put like a time or a number on it is like you're just being too hard on yourself. And so just go out there and do the best you can do every day, and you'll be fine. And some days will be great, and some days will be horrible, and some days you'll just be grateful. Some days you got to stop and take pictures of flowers, and
Yeah.
you just enjoy those moments. Don't get caught up like, oh my goodness, my mile's going to be so slow
Yeah.
because I had to take these 10 amazing photos that totally made my day. Like
Yes.
these photos are so awesome. Like it's so like it's just so great,
Yeah.
So why would I rob myself of that joy?
Exactly. And that's the beauty of running, enjoy the process, enjoy the scenery, and don't be too critical of the things that you can't control. You can control, and just enjoy the ride. I think that's awesome. Ray, that's amazing that you say that. And I hope we get some people that start some running streaks and remember this from this episode. But Ray, before we let you go, this is your time to shine here. Tell the people how we can find you. What's your Instagram handle, or what where else we can find you, and of course, what race is coming up for you? What ultra are you doing? Any ultras anytime soon or whatnot? This is your time, man.
So the next thing on the schedule would probably be hopefully would be Saddle the Surf 100.
Okay.
Last year, so that this race is from Norco to Huntington Beach and back.
Okay.
So 50 miles out, 50 miles back.
Nice.
Last October, I got to around mile 62. I did not finish it. So I felt like I have unfinished business, but it ended up turning out to be a blessing in disguise. Because when I got home, it was roughly around 1 o'clock in the morning. So it's a local race. So my buddy took me home, and I was just so bummed. But I got up that morning because Tapatio wanted to go for his run.
Of course.
And I was, well, I feel miserable. I'm sad. I was the most trained I was going into a run. What did I do wrong? And but I might as well keep my run streak going on. So
Mm-hmm.
took Tapatio out for a run, got back home, sat in my chair, just really, really feeling broken and hard on
Yeah.
myself. I mean, 62 miles is obviously that's a great accomplishment.
Oh yeah.
But I was literally that's the best I've ever been for 100. I was
Oh
the
wow.
most shape I've ever been. Like it should have been a slam dunk.
Yeah.
As soon as I sat down on that chair, I mean, it had to have been minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It couldn't have been that long.
Mm-hmm.
I got a knock at my front door saying my house was on fire.
Oh
And
wow.
so a neighbor walking his dog noticed that smoke was coming out of the garage. And
Wow.
yeah, and then my neighbor's garage, we live in condos,
Mm-hmm.
and his garage was on fire. The fire spread to my garage. And
Mm-hmm.
so we've been out of that house since last October. Construction hasn't started yet.
Oh wow.
So it's been a long time battling with insurances and all that. And that race is just like multifaceted as far as like why I want to go and
Yeah.
do it, because it's
There's
like
definitely a
unfinished
meaning. Yeah.
business. Yeah, unfinished business, and there's like just wanting to overcome because that was like really like it was hurtful, and I was
Mm-hmm.
thankful. I was thankful that my wife was pregnant with our youngest daughter,
Yeah.
and I was thankful that I was home to be
Yeah.
with there because to get the wife and kids out of the house, and we
Yeah.
were um, you know get the dogs. They would have been home alone, and I would have
Yeah.
been out on the course. I wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to go back to that race so bad, and I want to get it
Well,
done.
we hope that you do finish it, and we do hope that you everything works out. And like you said, it was a blessing in disguise. You didn't see it at the moment when you did not finish the race, but if imagine if you had finished it, things could have been so bad. So some higher power up there probably told you, you need to stop. And I'm glad that you did. I hope everyone is okay. I hope the pups are good, and we'll be rooting for you, bud. And I know this time around you're gonna finish this race, and you might go play soccer afterwards. Okay.
Right? Oh, that would be the best, right? That would be number 10 of 100 miles or farther
Yeah.
if I pull it off. So
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome, awesome,
Yeah.
dude. And before we let you go again, go ahead and give us where can we find you on your socials? Go ahead and give us that way if someone wants to
Yes.
follow you or whatnot, they can find you for sure.
So I'm Ray Runner on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram. So you could Ray_Ray_runner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there on Instagram. And feel free to message me.
Okay.
I love talking to people. Like I never get bored. Like
Yeah.
seriously, like message me. We could even set up like a video call. Like
Awesome.
whatever I can. I just want to pay it forward. Like the running community is
Yeah,
absolutely amazing,
I
and if
agree.
I'm able to help someone else like accomplish their goals, like
Yeah.
gosh, isn't that where it's at, man?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, no, I agree. I agree. And that's
yeah,
what that's I think
like
that's what we're known for, the running community, that we like to pay it forward. We like to help out our fellow runners. We like to help out the people that are might be on the fence, that might want to be runners, but they feel that they don't run fast, because I think that's the biggest thing that I get asked, like, oh, I don't run fast. How do you do it? What do you mean? And so, yes, paying it forward is a perfect way to saying it. And I'm glad that you have that mentality. And congratulations, especially because of that.
well, thank you. And then I'm on Facebook also.
Okay.
It's just it's Ray Berlinga. And
Okay.
so those two places, that's it for
All right.
now. We talk about TikTok, but it just seems like more work. I was like, I think I'm pretty busy with just Facebook and Instagram,
Yeah,
and I'm like, it's like the idea of incorporating one more social media
it's
seems a
just too
little
much.
overwhelming. Yeah. So maybe one day, not crying out, right now, especially with a 4-month-old baby.
Oh yeah. That's more important right now. But Ray, again, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it, and we're definitely going to keep an eye on you on your races and your running streak. We hope you can continue and keeping it alive for years to come. Hopefully next time maybe we will have an update and you'll be in the 3000s or something like that. That'd be
Oh, that'd be
awesome.
great.
That'd be awesome,
Yeah.
man. But we appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And definitely we'll keep in touch, all right?
All right. Sounds good.
All
Thank
righty.
you, guys.
Yeah. And this has been episode 5. This was Ray, and thank you again, Ray. Have a good night.